Well, we're just days away from the official start of the hurricane season, and we are preparing just as much as you. Last week, NOAA predicted an above normal hurricane season. So today we have Houston Chronicle meteorologist Justin Ballard. He's here to talk about the forecast accuracy. So welcome to the show, Justin.
Thank you for having me. This is the second year NOAA has released an above average expectation for hurricane season. So it's been a little while.
And it's pretty cool to see, and I love that you're going back and kind of putting what they have forecasted to what actually happened. So, last year, it actually brought record forecast track accuracy across all forecast time intervals between 12 and 120 hours, which is super impressive. But how did the outlook released in May actually do?
It actually did very well, and I'll show you that in just a second, but you mentioned it right off the top. We are just days away, 4 days until the Atlantic hurricane season begins. I personally am not loving that, but that's okay. You know what? We'll get through it together. But in terms of how last year's forecast did, it actually verified every step of the way. And I'll kind of go into a little bit of that here in just a moment. But the forecast last year was for up to, I believe, 18 named storms. That's tropical storms, hurricanes, major hurricanes, up to 25 rather. 18 is what actual verified. So that that actual number fell within that 17 to 25 range. Hurricanes 8 to 13, we actually had 11, so that was right kind of in the middle almost. Major hurricanes 4 to 7, guess what? We landed right at 5. Major hurricanes Cat 3, 4, and 5, winds of 111 miles per hour. So last year's forecast was very, very accurate, one of the most accurate on record, and certainly the most accurate on record in terms of forecast tracks of individual tropical storms and hurricanes.
And that is pretty impressive. When you actually see it like that, you're like, wow, you're able to forecast that. So that is really neat. And it's nice to actually see that we're seeing it get better. But, NOAA hasn't always released these. Right. When did they actually start releasing these season
The first
predictions?
outlook came out in August of 1998. It seems probably like a mid-season outlook. The first sort of May outlook was released in May of 1999, so 1 year later. Since then, we've seen some significant increases in accuracy, especially in the last 10 or so years. So kind of looking at some of the stats. Now, what is this showing you? This is basically showing what actual numbers kind of fell within the range issued beginning in 2002. That's when 2002 really kind of marked the start of them issuing those ranges for tropical storms, hurricanes, major hurricanes. 61 to 60%. So forecast accuracy in the last 10 years has dropped, at least where tropical storms is concerned, by one small percentage point. Again, we don't have a huge data set on this, only 23 years, but then some of those other numbers, hurricanes and major hurricanes, those have increased by about 20% since 2015. So over the last 10 seasons, those accuracy numbers have gone up 20%, from 60 to 65% to 80% for both hurricanes and major hurricanes. A big feat.
Yeah, I was like, that's always good to hear, especially since, this hinges, what we do in our daily life hinges a lot on what happens in the tropics. So speaking of that, we've seen a lot more, accurate forecasts, but do we know yet if there's going to be, any issues? Because, of course, there's been cuts across NOAA that are actually going to affect the research and the accuracy that they've been putting out.
The director of NOAA, Ken Graham, I'm not sure if you were in the press conference last week when he was announcing the numbers. He did say that the National Hurricane Center is fully staffed. Now, how does that look? Is it staffed for kind of the bare bones sort of, operation, day-to-day operations, or is it staffed more fully for, really thriving during the hurricane season? I don't know. But it is currently fully staffed at the National Hurricane Center now. At the local level, we know, we've talked about this multiple times over the last couple of weeks, the local National Weather Service is not fully staffed. They're leaderless and have been since late April. So that's going to be a big challenge, I think, over the next couple of months. How will this affect research? How will this affect, accuracy of forecasts? I really don't think anyone knows. I think it's purely speculation, but what we do know is the less data points that we're getting in models, whether it's hurricane season, severe storm season, winter, whatever it may be, the less accurate our forecasts tend to be. So that's something that we'll be keeping, obviously, a very close eye on. We've got plenty of time between now and the end of hurricane season to kind of test the accuracy of those models.
That's very true, but it is really nice to see the accuracy improving so much with them. And we're hoping, you know, that we're able to continue to see that accuracy continue to rise.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you so much for laying that out. It's really nice to actually be able to see that right in front of us.
Yes, thank you for having me.